Welcome to the channel. Today we are doing a case study of a couple we'll call Kevin and Dana Smith. Kevin's 53 and Dana is 51. They hope to retire by age 60, and Dana would like to cut back and start doing part-time work within a year. This is just one of their goals. We're going to get into more of their goals and planning strategies that we have recommendations for. I'm Justin Ancona, partner here at Steward Guide Wealth Partners. Our goal is to honor God by helping people plan and achieve the retirement they dream of. So let's get into it. All right, so let's get right into this case study. So just to give a little background information about Kevin and Dana, and then getting into some of the goals and the assumptions that we're using. So Kevin, they live in Denver, Colorado. Kevin is a corporate executive. He's making $280. Dana is a registered nurse with income of $115, and she wants to go part-time within a year. They're both eligible for Social Security. These are the amounts at full retirement, age 67, and then if they delay until 70. We'll just skip over the goals for just a minute. We'll come back to that. They do have 3 kids, 22, 19, and 17. The first one, they're happy to say, has launched, is off on their own. The second is in college, and the third is entering into senior year of high school. Another important piece, they've informed us that both their parents are still alive, and they've got family history of longevity. So something to note as we get into the planning recommendations. Now, goals that they have. So they've got several goals here, and we'll focus on a few of them just for the sake of time as we get into the recommendations. But they do want to fully retire by age 60. Actually, Dana wants to retire sooner than that. So she wants to start cutting back part-time within the next year. She's currently 51, but then wants to do the part-time for a few years, and by 55, 56, she'd like to fully retire. One of their big goals, they realize that their parents have good longevity, their family history has been healthy, which is great, but the longer you live, the more you need money to sustain that lifestyle, living into your maybe mid to late 90s. So we'll discuss planning for that. They have a basic will. They've done a few things, but they want to update their estate plan. Another goal that they have, they'd like to maintain their lifestyle in retirement of $180,000 spending per year. That's in today's dollars. And then finally, they would like to help pay 50% of college costs for the last 2 kids in college. Let's now get into the advanced planning recommendations for Kevin and Dana. We will focus on 3 of the 8 that we have here for the sake of time, but I'll touch briefly on the other 5. So the first one, we would want to discuss the retirement timeline and that part-time income. We'd have a strategy there to kind of bridge the gap of the part-time work and then before full Social Security, full retirement age at 67. Again, that kind of fits in with the cash flow. So just conversations around how we would plan for cash flow during that time. So here's one that I want to focus on, a Roth conversion strategy. So they're retiring, what we would say is early, before age 65 or 67. And so they have this unique window here where they've got an opportunity to convert IRA money that's pre-tax into Roth money. Majority of their liquid assets is in traditional IRA money in their 401k. One thing we would really want to spend time doing is running projections to see how much we could convert each year, especially from ages 60 to 67. When they're retired, they'll be in a lower tax bracket. We could be potentially taking from their brokerage account for the spending needs that they have, and we could be looking to convert IRA money up to fill up the 22% bracket or the 24% bracket. There's software that can be used to run these projections to really show the benefit of doing this, so that we've now got the money in the Roth IRA instead of the traditional, and the Roth is growing completely tax-free. Additionally, this would reduce future required minimum distributions. With Roth IRAs, you don't have to withdraw at age 73 like you currently do for traditional IRA money. This also gives us more tax flexibility and control in future years. We don't know where taxes are going in the future, but there's a good chance they might go up. And so this gives us a little more diversification in the tax buckets between what we have or what they have in their traditional, their Roth, and then they've got the brokerage as well. Another topic we won't spend much time on here, but healthcare planning. We just talk about what that would look like when Dana is working part-time, and then once she does retire at age 56 or 55, they need to do some pre-Medicare planning. Medicare will kick in at age 65, and so we'd want to talk about the best strategy for them for healthcare. Now here's the second one that I want to spend some time just going more in depth with. So the investment strategy, looking at their assets, the allocation of their assets. They're currently 90% equity, 10% bonds. So this is a more growth strategy. And what we would want to look to do as they're starting to look towards part-time and then even retirement in the next maybe 5 to 7 years for them, they're looking to fully retire. And so what I would want to have them look at is doing a rebalance, talking about a retirement bucket strategy for the withdrawals that they need. So they are going to need to take X amount out of their portfolio each year. We want to build up so that we've got, we'll call it a fixed income reserve or conservative bucket for maybe 1 to 5 years worth of their spending. And then above those 5 years, we can be a little more aggressive with a balanced or growth approach. For each person, each client, risk tolerance is different for everyone. So we definitely want to explore more for Kevin and Dana what their tolerance is for risk. It seems like they are a little bit more tolerant given that they're currently a 90-10 allocation, but they might fall somewhere in this 60 to 75% equities, depending on how they score on a risk profile, but then also looking again at this bucket strategy for really building out withdrawals for them in those first years of retirement. Additionally, we'd want to talk about asset location. So we were just talking about asset allocation. Now we'd want to look at asset location, which we talked a little bit about with having, the brokerage, the Roth, and the IRA. But getting even more into that is what type of investments we have in each of those vehicles. So specifically in the brokerage account, we want to be tax efficient. We want to be tax efficient using ETFs and then municipal bonds in the taxable brokerage account. Now in the IRA, we want to look to use more aggressive growth-oriented positions. So that's where we can have that, we get that tax-free growth. So we want to have the most of all the investments that we're using aggressive stuff for. That's where we'd want to have the most aggressive in that bucket of money, the Roth IRA. So they shared that one of their goals is to provide 50% of funding for all of their kids. They've still got one. They've got one currently in college, and they've got one a senior in high school who's going to be going into college. They currently have $110,000 in 529 money, which is a really great start and potentially could be enough. This is something, we won't dive deep in here, but this is something we'd want to discuss further to see what their second child, how much are they spending per year? And then for their third, is he thinking public school, a private school, community college for a few years? What type of college is he looking at? Because that'll really determine if they need to keep funding that 529 or if it's really good and just continue to let it fund the kids' education. So the third main one that I want to spend time talking about is insurance and risk management. So their term life policies, they do expire at age 60, so they don't need to extend that, because really at that time, the three major things that you need term life coverage for will be, they won't have a need for it anymore, which is covering the mortgage. Most of their mortgage should be paid off, getting the kids through college, which the kids at that point should be fully through college. And then the third one is income replacement and funding retirement, which at 60, they're looking to be fully retired. So there's really not a need to have additional term coverage once their term policies expire. Now, one thing that we do want to have them look at is a long-term care policy in the next couple of years. 55 to 58 tend to kind of be a sweet spot for looking at these policies, specifically a hybrid policy. It gives a death benefit or a long-term care benefit. So the advantage of these type of policies is that if you don't need long-term care, you still have that death benefit. So you're paying premiums and it's not a use it or lose it. but if you don't have a need for long-term care, you get a benefit in the form of a death benefit. So something that it's not a fit for everyone. It definitely doesn't make sense for everyone to use, but it's a case by case and something specifically for them we'd want to look at because they express that their parents have really good longevity. They likely have good genes and they might live until their late to mid 90s, and they might need additional care outside of the home. So number 8 is estate planning. Won't spend a lot of time on this, but do want to just touch on it briefly. They did express that they have wills and healthcare proxies in place, but we would recommend that they meet with an attorney to see about getting things updated, specifically evaluate if it makes sense for them to have a revocable living trust. We would want to make sure all of their beneficiary designations are the way that they want them. For anything that's a non-retirement, we set up a transfer on death. And then, a suggestion, the kids are getting to an age where they can start to understand things more and giving them more information, but just having we call it like a one-pager for the kids in case of an emergency. So everything they would need to know from where things are, who to call, what to do would be very helpful for the kids. Well, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider coming back for another one. We'll continue putting out videos, but thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in a next video.